You're offered the ability to absorb the knowledge of any book you touch instantly, but the way it works is that time freezes and won't unfreeze until you finish reading the book cover to cover. Do you accept this power/curse? Why or why not?
So I can move freely when time is frozen? Or am I stuck there reading? 'Cause if it's the former, what's the problem? If the latter, I can learn a lot of skills easily. Or freeze time by touching Clifford and having a nap. I can't see a downside either way.
Let's say you only speak/read English. You touch an ancient Chinese manuscript that even modern literates can't read. How do you learn the language? Does it count if you just look at all the characters? You could die before finishing it, and you'd be lonely, frustrated, and bored until then. Edit, people. This post is over a week old. To address some repeating comments. I've already explained how you could, not would, still die. Time doesn't stop for you, or else you wouldn't be able to read, meaning you age and need to eat/drink as well. And if time is stopped for everything but you, can you still eat things operating at absolute zero on an atomic level? How does time work for everything, including you, in this situation? I've already explained how the ancient Chinese manuscript was an extreme example. The same situation applies to anyone who can't read anything, people who can't read other languages, or even written word, and people slow to learn. What does it mean to read? What if you physically, educationally, or developmentally can't? Hopefully this curbs the "but you wouldn't die/ancient manuscripts" as bull comments. I was hoping for more conversation on the monkey's paw, gray area aspects. That's what makes these posts fun. Edit 2, this is what I responded to. Greater than so I can move freely when time is frozen? Or am I stuck there reading? 'Cause if it's the former, what's the problem? If the latter, I can learn a lot of skills easily, or freeze time by touching Clifford and having a nap. We're both looking forward to conversation, not just shooting down a premise.
They never said you had to comprehend the information inside the book, just read it.
True. If that's so, it's op. Since I absorbed the knowledge, that means I must have gained an understanding of the language as well.
We learned hieroglyphics, but that did not mean we understood the language till the Rosetta Stone was uncovered. Another example, we come across aliens who know the same math we do. Unless both sides can agree on notation and meaning, the knowledge will not be of much use.
I know, but we are thinking too realistically considering what the power does. It makes whatever we read our own knowledge. Could be that we don't understand the language but know what the book contains in our own language. Could be that we gain an understanding of the other language itself. So you are telling me that I can freeze time whenever I wish for however long, and when I resume time I learn all the knowledge from a book of my choice? Hell yes, sign me the fuck up.
Just as long as my only pair of glasses doesn't break.
That's not fair. That's not fair at all.
I can still read the large print books.
Good thing I can read Braille.
Hell yeah. I get to take my time reading, absorb all the info, and I get enough time to actually read books instead of just skimming. Sign me up.
It's all fun and games until you accidentally touch an encyclopedia.
It's all fun and games until you need to rearrange your library. Edit. I get it, guys. Gloves. You can stop telling me that.
Assuming that it only works once per book, you get the chance to read all the books in your collection that you've bought but never read. I'd say it gets tough if you're a librarian because you have to read books that other people chose to read.
Depends on when you got those books. If you got them after you got the power, then you would have already read them. Smile.
You're a smart one, aren't you?
So if you accidentally touched a Bible, for example, you'd be stuck frozen in time for like 50 hours. I'm a bit confused about the monkey's paw fine print of this deal, but it doesn't sound that catastrophic. Edit. Yeah, you guys are right, 50 hours is a massive underestimation. That would cover the bulk of the Old Testament, but the whole thing is probably closer to 80 hours. But hey, supernatural speed reading. Tongue.
Imagine a shelf full of Bibles falling on you. Divine retribution.
Imagine trying to figure out which one touched you first, reading like 6 Bibles and time not unfreezing, wondering if it's another Bible or if you accidentally missed a page in one of the 6 you think you've read. Edit. Imagine swearing on the Bible in court.
They would all freeze in the air, only the first would touch you. Plus, they would only need to be skimmed after the first time. Why would they even need to be skimmed? You already know the book.
It doesn't say you need to know it to unfreeze time, it says you need to read it. You can read a book more than once, even if you know everything in it. I'm also confused if the power grants full and complete knowledge simply by having read it, or if the implication is that by reading it you learn the information. I could read a book on advanced mathematics, but not understand it.
Hey, could you hold these textbooks for me?
Oh God, is that one in Mandarin?
Yeah, I told you I'm studying abroad next semester. Why are you being so weird about this? I just need to tie my shoe.
Well, I have to go, I have a standing up appointment.
My goodness, is it 4:30? I am supposed to have a sack and crack.
The Stanley Parable is just too good.
100% would accept. It gives me so many opportunities to be by myself. I like reading, so if I really had to read something, even if I accidentally touched it and hated it, I would. I get to spend hours upon hours by myself, and it's a pretty good way to cheat on tests or steal money or whatever.
Yep. Same. Freeze time. Thanks for that power.
Dangerous though. Imagine you touch a book with a page torn out. You could spend eternity alone, searching for that page. Edit. Few people saying that pages don't need to be present, it's just the ones between the cover. So can you just rip out all the pages to unfreeze time then?
That sounds like a good Twilight Zone episode to me. It's not fair. That's not fair at all. There was time now.
Or that one Scary Door episode. Cursed by his own hubris.
This is a much deeper reference than usual. Nice. Thumbs up. If you're a very slow learner and a reader, and if you touched a book in some other language, would you get old till you are done deciphering and reading it? Will you go from 10 years to 90 years in just the flash of normal time?
Probably not. It's instant absorption of the knowledge, so to other people it seems like you didn't age or anything.
So here is the caveat. It's instant absorption of the information in the book, right? If it's in another language, and not a book about learning that language itself, wouldn't you need to scour to find books on learning that specific language, touch them, then read them cover to cover, in order to be able to come back to the original book to read it cover to cover? How long would that take? Especially if time is frozen. You can't drive or ride a bike to somewhere that might have the books you're looking for. You could only walk, right? I'm certain that I'm overthinking this, but I feel like this could get very convoluted very quickly.
I guess the instant absorption works by freezing time, looking at the book page to page until you've read it, and then the time unfreezes after you've soaked everything in, and while all this happens you don't age for some reason. Is that what you were saying? Sorry, English is my second language.
My take on it is more about touching a book that is in a language you are not familiar with. If I touched a book, for instance, written in Japanese, a language I have zero frame of reference to understand, I would absorb the knowledge of the information in the book immediately. But, I would not then be able to read it since I can't read Japanese. So would time stay frozen until I could get my hands on several volumes of books teaching me Japanese, all the way from novice to expert, so that I could then go back and read the original book that I had touched? To further this, what if I touched this original book in Japanese out in a cabin in the middle of nowhere? How could I go about obtaining books on teaching me that language so that I could read the original text? This could conceivably take years of my life.
I would argue that the knowledge in a book contains the knowledge of that language as well. You cannot gain the knowledge of a book without knowing its language. If you read the English version of the Japanese book you touched, it would not be able to contain the nuances that the original Japanese version held. You lose little bits of the original understanding in even the best translations. Books inherently contain the knowledge of the language they're written in. Change my mind.
1. I can effectively teleport by reading a book. 2. I am technically immortal as long as I read. 3. There's all the time I ever wanted.
Nothing in the prompt about your own time, aging, freezing.
The world is frozen, so you have to assume that it comes with immortality and no need for eating and sleeping. Otherwise, it doesn't give you the power to instantly learn books from the perspective of other people. It just makes you die the moment you touch an encyclopedia for the first time.
Yes, hence the question in reference to it is a power curse. If you accidentally touch an encyclopedia, you would have to read it cover to cover to get time to unfreeze. No, if you don't have complete protection from effects of time freezing, you simply die of asphyxiation the first time you touch a book. The power doesn't work as stated as a curse, unless it is not really a curse, otherwise the description is self-contradictory.
That doesn't necessarily mean you won't age. It may be that the ability comes with being able to survive without food or oxygen, but that doesn't mean your cells won't continue to multiply and die as normal. It's not unreasonable to assume that you won't age, but it's not a given.